The first crossover in DC's Absolute Universe has concluded, with issue 15 of Absolute Wonder Woman and issue 16 of Absolute Batman, each with their own self-contained stories that do take place one after the other, but there are fun stories nonetheless that get our two main leads together on their own separate adventures and forming a bond. And as we go through these stories, we realize that these are actually the two characters that make the most sense to have their very first crossover, as their dynamic starts to form, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun with them utilizing their own different specialties. But before we jump into this video and talk about the first crossover of Absolute DC, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hype up the video to boost it in the algorithm. Really helps, and it shows you guys want to see more. Absolute DC is going to be even bigger this year, going into its second full year of publication, as we got another crossover being planned with Absolute Superman. We're not sure who yet, but he's also introducing another character, and they're reimagining into the Absolute Universe as well, as he is also entering a new arc. I'm going to try and talk about other Absolute titles in general, because a lot's been going on in Absolute DC that I do want to talk about, but for right now, let's jump right into these crossovers for Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, starting over with Absolute Wonder Woman number 15. Now, in this issue, we actually focus on Wonder Woman coming to Gotham City to find Batman, as the symbol of Hecate has been seen in Gotham City, which we saw at the end of issue 14 of Absolute Wonder Woman, and so she came to Gotham to investigate. She's already kind of figured that there's been a bunch of different heroes and champions coming and popping up all over the planet, and Batman seemed like the first one that she was inevitably going to end up interacting with herself. As she appears in Gotham, uses magic to create a giant magic bat symbol to catch Batman's attention, the two of them meet, and they actually quite hit it off, with Wonder Woman respecting Batman and his dedication to protecting Gotham City and to help others. And Batman also has been reading up on Absolute Wonder Woman, as he is also respecting what she is doing for the world. But all that aside, Wonder Woman wants to investigate what's going on with the symbols of the Greek goddess Hecate in Gotham City, as they're related to a bunch of seemingly ritualistic murders. But despite her knowing more about the mystical side of things, her detective skills are not the greatest, and so she's come to Batman for his expertise. And what I like about this issue is that we are actually getting more of Absolute Batman being a detective, because while we've seen prep time, undeniable human spirit, and his just overall finesse with being a pretty brutal fighter and brawler, we have really not seen Batman properly be a detective in the Absolute Universe. And this is kind of crazy considering the fact that this is happening, well, in an Absolute Wonder Woman book. Kelly Thompson has done such a phenomenal job with Absolute Wonder Woman up until this point, but she's also pretty much nailing Batman, at least this version of Batman, as well. Not only that, but I honestly ended up really liking Hayden Sherman's artwork in Absolute Wonder Woman, and the way Gotham and Batman have been drawn in this crossover is actually very nice. So Diana and Bruce end up going across Gotham City to each of these different murder sites, as essentially, as Batman is going and looking over specific aspects of motive and how things are presented, Diana also notices what essentially constitutes an actual ritual for Hecate, and even ends up giving us a bit more lore on how she uses her magic, as magic a lot of times has a price, and blood tends to be a direct way. But she offers up her own blood, and since her blood is powerful, it gives her the ability to use much more powerful magic. So that's a really nice way to just give us extra information on how she's been utilizing magic in this series so far, and I'm liking the explanation. Now, after investigating a couple of these different murder sites, we end up reaching what seems like an old abandoned cathedral, as we end up seeing a clay golem seemingly being made with a bunch of people in a trance performing some sort of ritual with a boundary around them. Now, before this interaction, Wonder Woman gives Batman a symbol of Hecate that, if put on bare skin, will allow Batman to ask an audience of Wonder Woman. This will be very important for not just this crossover, but in the following crossover to come. So the two of them enter this building, and they're wondering what's going on. Diana instantly begins to figure out what's going on. This is obviously outside of Bruce's wheelhouse with the mysticism and stuff, and they accidentally cross the border and get trapped within. Now, while all this is going on, it's revealed that this is a massive ploy by two members of our Absolute Justice League, Veronica Cale and Jack Grimm, the Joker. Now, these two are the main antagonists for Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, and in the events of Absolute Evil, which I covered here on the channel, they have formed an alliance with other Absolute villains to try and help each other out with resources and planning to try and take out their enemies. And so, with help from Jack Grimm, him, Kale sets up a ploy to try and not only get Diana killed or under control in some way to deal with her, but also to get rid of Batman to kind of help out Jack Grimm as well. And it's revealed that this golem ritual isn't being meant to create a golem. No, it is to essentially manipulate and control Diana, which thankfully in the Absolute Universe, she is created from clay, which is her original origin, which only I believe recently in mainline continuity we kind of reset that from the New 52, making her the daughter of Zeus and making her a literal demigod in that aspect. So I like Clay origin better, and I like that she is still in this universe technically a clay golem. So this ritual is being used to control Diane, and she is just, you know, wrecking Batman in this instance, because this is the first time Batman's fighting someone like Wonder Woman, and so he has no contingency plans, he has no way of dealing with her, so he's kind of on the back foot and trying to rely on his training to kind of, you know, keep a distance and not get himself killed. Now eventually he comes up with the idea that could help set Wonder Woman free, so he uses the emblem that Wonder Woman gave him earlier in this issue and touches his bare skin with it and requests an audience of Diana of the Wild Isle. And this is enough to break Diana free from this control that this sect has placed her on. And so things have settled down. The setup to take care of both Batman and Wonder Woman has failed, and this also kind of helped strengthen the bond between Batman and Wonder Woman as well. Kal is furious, and so new plans are going to have to be made. As she ends up getting ready to send out more characters, as we've seen in previous issues, she was getting ready to send out Absolute Zatanna, which we dealt with and we're going to be jumping back to with the upcoming issues of Absolute Wonder Woman with her new arc that's about to start with issue 16. Now, in the aftermath to all this, Diana and Bruce are kind of calming down and just talking about everything that's going on with the state of the world, even bringing up that Wonder Woman wants to unite these heroes, and it makes sense for Wonder Woman of all characters in this universe to be the one to try and bring heroes together, as she believes in cooperation and unity, and so she does have that optimistic mindset. And as she said, Batman was the first one she thought of because he seemed like the easiest to approach, essentially. And so after the two of them get together, talking about Superman as well, trying to get him to join the fold, which I really do hope we see him interact with Wonder Woman and Batman in this universe, because stuff going on in Absolute Superman is also pretty crazy. Wonder Woman gives Batman a flash drive that contains a bunch of information, primarily on, you know, like the gods of this world, stuff that she knows of, as well as other heroes and mysterious things going on in the world that Bruce might not be too privy to. And this ends up leaving the two of them to separate on their separate ways as the holidays end up coming. Which, yeah, this issue came out on Christmas Eve, which is honestly a really nice present for me. But that's where issue 15 of Absolute Wonder Woman ends. Really great issue. I loved this crossover. It was fun. We got some nice back and forth, and it showcases the best aspects of Wonder Woman with her specialties and Batman and his specialties, and the way he's able to think on his feet and kind of be a bit risky when the need arises, with how he managed to break Wonder Woman out of that control. And it also was a nice way to show the Absolute Justice League actively planning to help each other take out each other's problems and the respective heroes that are getting in their way. So yeah, that is something that I'm glad we're seeing, because it's something that I've been waiting to see happen in other books, as this is important for the overall world of the Absolute Universe. But now let's move on to Absolute Batman issue 16. Now, in this issue, Bruce, after everything that's going on with Bane, with most recently happening with Wonder Woman, he has done a lot of stuff as Batman, and even taken care of Wayland in his Killer Croc state. So he shows back up to work, and people are starting to talk about Batman, especially at his job site, and wondering what's going on. And we meet Lucius Fox, like, fully in this universe, which is nice. So I'm curious to see if we'll get him joining the fold at some point as well, but it doesn't seem to have the similar ways about him as being a technical genius as in the main universe, so I'm curious to see if this is just an Easter egg, or if Lucius will show back up in the future. But Bruce ends up going to the hospital to visit Harvey and Oz, but they're still obviously angry and pissed at him for dragging them into this massive mess, and how they've gotten to form. Oz and Harvey are slowly starting to become, you know, the villains that they were in the main counterpart, just like, you know, more horrific. Like Oz, and especially Harvey, as you see the left side of his face slowly turning blue from the injury. So yeah, that's crazy, as well as him like talking like Two-Face. So that's something I'm curious to see is going to happen in the future. And it's obvious that Bruce feels horrible about getting his friends dragged into his life as Batman, and so he desperately does want to help them, he just doesn't know how. He then goes to the museum in Gotham City and goes to a Greek exhibit for ancient Greek pottery and stuff like that in mythology, as he then uses the emblem that he got from Wonder Woman in the crossover in Absolute Wonder Woman 15 to summon Wonder Woman. Now, this emblem can only be used 3 times. Bruce already used it twice. One in the last crossover, one in this one. So he summons Wonder Woman, and asks for her help. As, well, in Greek mythology, there's people that kind of transform a lot or go from animal to man, half animal, and wants to know if any artifacts or stuff like that can help, well, heal Waylon, bring him back to his senses, or at least get him to be human again. Wonder Woman says no, but there is a different plane of existence where they can go to in order to get that back. And it is a plane of existence between the underworld and the living world. And so Wonder Woman, seeing Bruce's resolve, ends up taking him with her as they journey into this other veil of existence. All while it seems like, with a brief instance of Alfred a little bit in the future, in this issue, trying to feed Waylon, showing that Waylon is still struggling to keep his sanity as Killer Croc. To show us that, yeah, Waylon's kind of running out of time here. And it's only a matter of time before things get worse. Now, their time in this other plane of existence goes by faster than the real world, so Bruce won't be gone for too long in the main world, but they're gone for about 2 weeks or so. Their goal is to get this artifact and weapon from a centaur in order to use it to help bring Waylon back to his senses, as that's only something that a guy that can transform things can kind of help. I'm simplifying here, but that's kind of the gist of things. But Bruce has to get it by besting him in combat or by receiving it from him. He's not just going to give it to them outright. And so they walk for about 2 weeks, because Wonder Woman isn't using Pegasus, because Pegasus is very wary of humans and views them as unworthy, so they have to walk. And I just like this running bit of Diana just telling Bruce about everything that they see, not to look at this, not to touch that, etc., because it will kill you, until eventually we see a Cyclops, and Bruce is like, oh, let me guess, I shouldn't look directly into his eyes, otherwise he'll kill me. But Diana's like, no, that's just very rude. Why would he kill you? That actually made me laugh. That was actually a pretty funny joke after that setup. Now they get to a ritual burial site of a king, or at least in instance, a hero viewed by his people, on an altar with the gold coins on his eyes. This is something that's done in ancient Greece. That is said to be payment to cross over into the afterlife, mainly done for like heroes and stuff like that. It has a lot of significance in order to allowing those as payment to go to the afterlife, and that actually sets up to something that I find very sweet and one of my favorite parts of this crossover. As Bruce and Diana are sleeping to get some rest before they go and fight the centaur, Diana takes 2 of these coins and places them over the eyes of a sleeping Bruce. And in this, since they're between the veil of life and death in this realm, Bruce actually gets to talk to his father, and they have a nice heart-to-heart where, well, Thomas basically encourages Bruce and tells him to be the person that helps others, emphasizing that Bruce is an engineer. And what makes a good engineer and someone that saves people is putting in the effort and the want to make people's lives better, to build a better future. And he tells Bruce to get out there and build, with a single panel looking just like that little bat-shaped bridge thing that Bruce made that won him the project that got them the trip to the zoo in the first place, holding up him and his father in this spiritual plane. Short, nice scene. It is so sweet that Diana did this, especially because in this issue it's pretty obvious that Bruce off-screen told Diana his entire life story and why he became Batman and what happened to his dad. So this is obviously her way of helping Bruce get some form of closure. And I'm curious to see if this is going to carry over and affect his future work as Absolute Batman, because this is a very pivotal thing to happen for Bruce, and I am so curious to see how this goes. But daytime comes, and Bruce and Diana go and face off against the centaur Acrolis. And so they begin to fight. Nice little joke about Acrolis thinking that Bruce and Diana are together, when as the 2 of them scream out, they are not. But yeah, the 2 of them begin to fight as a team, pushing back the centaur, and they seemingly knock him down with help of us working together. But Bruce makes the mistake of being behind the centaur, as Acrolis ends up kicking Bruce in the head, knocking him over the edge. As then Pegasus flies forward to go and save Bruce, as Diana is going to try and defeat Acrolis by herself. But Pegasus saves Batman, and he charges forward. Acrolis is about to shoot Diana with an arrow, but Bruce gets in the way to save her, as then Wonder Woman goes and deals the finishing blow by punching the lights out of Acrolis, knocking out a couple of teeth. As I do like the joke that since he can transform things, then it's like, let me transform your face with my fist, as she knocks him out. Fun, love it. And I do like that Diana got the finishing blow here, even though this was done for Bruce's sake to kind of help Waylon. Diana is the stronger out of the 2, and they're fighting, beasts from myth. Bruce, despite being strong and resourceful, is definitely not at that level just yet, but the fact that he was even able to injure this guy in the first place is honestly really cool and shows his progression. Wonder Woman picks up Bruce as she gets ready to take him and bring him home as they leave this realm. And as Bruce is losing consciousness, he looks over to see the spirit of his father, saying he's not ready to say goodbye yet, but his father says goodbye. As Bruce wakes up in his apartment it as the arrow is taken from his shoulder, as he remembers something that Diana said earlier in the issue, that everything that he needs lies inside him. So he takes out the arrow and he sees this magical tip. As he thinks back to what was said about it, turn 2 legs into 4 and 4 into 2 as he gained the artifact. The artifact was on the arrow that Acrylos shot Bruce with. And so the issue ends with Bruce returning to work with a injured arm, as we finish things off with Bruce leaving a note with the artifact necklace of Bruce saying that Wei should put on this necklace and let it touch his skin, saying that he is never alone. Wayland grabs the artifact as we see his arm change and begin to say Bruce's name. And that is the end of the second part of the Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman crossover. This was honestly a really fun way to cross over these two characters in different ways. The Absolute Wonder Woman one respects both characters and showcases their different aspects and specialties, and having them have to deal with a plot driven by both of their main antagonists, as well as strengthening their bonds and setting things up with, well, the future of the world, and Bruce opening those perspective to even more of this whole universe. Which I forgot to mention, in this issue of Absolute Batman, Bruce does say that his world basically opened up with stuff like all these gods and Superman and everything, as this is a lot for him to take in, and he's literally in a different plane of existence with what could essentially be called a goddess. I know she's not, but like that's what many people would perceive her as. But I do like the Absolute Batman issue, as well as not only to show more of their growing bond with each other as they actually do fight an enemy together and strengthen their trust in another. We do get to see more development for Bruce. He gets some nice time in what I can only perceive is some sort of closure with his father that will help alter or at least help push in a different and more positive direction for his pathway as Batman. And we get to see what's going on with the rest of his friends, with the tease that Wayland, with this ancient magical artifact, can in fact turn back to normal, or perhaps at least be human presenting and have his wits about him, which will definitely be a good start. And the teases of other stuff going on in the Absolute Universe is great, setting up for more potential crossovers and references to one another that I am very much looking forward to. But let me know in the comments down below what you thought of these crossovers. Which one was your favorite? I loved both of these, but I am more so liking the Absolute Wonder Woman one because the characterization of both was great and the utilization of their specialties was honestly really fun, and also just tying it together to Absolute Evil really helped with the progression of the overarching like plot and stakes of the universe. And looking forward to who Absolute Superman crosses over with and the new characters that get introduced to as well with these new story arcs. I plan to make just brief videos on each of these Absolute titles right now and as we go into their next arcs, because things are really shaping up and I am excited to talk about everything. Absolute DC has been amazing and I do want to talk about it more. But let me know what you guys think and what Absolute title you'd like me to talk about next. And once more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with all that said and done, hope you all